which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We need to have a roll call. First off, Ms. Harris, will you help us with that? Excellent, thank you. We have an agenda that's been prepared here. Is there any corrections, changes, additions? If there are not, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling, is there? Mr. Otley seconding. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. We have an agenda. We've got the City Council minutes for April 6th. Any concerns regarding those minutes? If not, we'll acknowledge those as they've been prepared and go on to the work session minutes for April 13th. Same thing there. Any concerns with those minutes? If not, we'll acknowledge those as well, and we'll go on to the bills. We've got a warrant register on your computer with today's date on it. Questions, comments, concerns? If there are none, is there a motion to approve the bills?
And I'll second it, Your Honor.
Mr. Lynch and Mr. Perk seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion on the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Council comments. Mr. Lynch, what do you have for us? Well,
Tonight, Mayor.
somebody's got to have something now. That's a...
It's $10, isn't it? Sorry about that. I have nothing, sir. Train's coming.
Train's coming. Yeah, get off the track. Mr. Perks, do you have anything for us?
I noticed the scooters around town, so
I saw
everybody
that
that's
too.
out driving should be careful and watch people zipping around traffic.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Welling?
Just sounds like we're losing a couple from the police department and community service, and they're having a luncheon on Friday. And wish them the best of luck and thank you for their service to this community. How long has Jeff worked for? 25 years, yeah. So they did a great job, so tell them thank you if I don't make it Friday. Thanks. That's all I have.
Sounds great. Mr. Sellers?
Not much, since the only people we have is our city heads. So just thanks for doing a great job, all of you. Yeah. It's been really rewarding for me to be able to see what we have in our community and how good job everybody does.
Perfect. Mr. Welling?
Just echo what's been said. Thank everybody for what they're doing.
Well, I'll say amen as well then, and we'll move on. We have no, let's see, we don't have any public hearings or special orders. We do have a consent agenda item, and that's a parade route request by Jim Davis and Celeste Olson for the annual All Alumni Noise Parade. I don't see anybody here representing that, but is it the same as, it looks to me, I looked at that map, it's the same as they've done in several years past. Any questions on that consent agenda item, or is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion. We approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Welling with a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Otley seconding. Any discussion? Discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? We have a parade for our noise parade. We'll now go to our unfinished business, and we'll start there with ordinance 2101. Mr. Bowl, please.
Your Honor, this ordinance of the city amends subsection A and enacts subsection F of section 4-9 of chapter 4 alcoholic beverages to reduce the publication and posting requirements for a notice of liquor license application and specifying the appeal procedure for denied renewal license.
Thank you, sir. There hasn't been any changes in this since our first reading, is that correct?
Correct.
Any questions, comments on this ordinance? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2101 on second reading.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling?
I'll second.
Mr. Sellers, seconding. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved on second reading. Ordinance 2102. Mr. Bowl, please.
Your Honor, this ordinance of the city enacts Section 4-12.2 of Chapter 4 to enable certain liquor licensees to deliver alcohol, liquor, and malt beverages to customers.
There again, I didn't see any changes in that.
No changes.
Questions, comments, concerns?
It just puts us in line with what the state did
Right.
to it, or enacted this year.
I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2102 on second reading. Mr. Lynch?
I'll second.
Is there, so Mr. Welling seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. We'll go on to our new business, and we'll start there with ordinance 2103. Mr. Bull, read that title for us, please.
Your Honor, this ordinance of the city amends Section 4-1 of Chapter 4 by modifying the definition of restaurant and amends Section 4-24 to provide that restaurant liquor licensees shall have designated dispensing areas and not operate the restaurant as a bar. As we discussed in the work session, Your Honor, it broadens the definition of restaurant, so a lot more food establishments potentially could qualify for restaurant liquor license. It also does away with the requirement that restaurants have a designated room to prepare and dispense their alcoholic beverages from, so long as they designate an area in which no members of the public would be allowed and no one under the age of 18 would be allowed. And finally, it just says that you can't operate your restaurant as a bar and lounge. So those are the changes being made.
Okay. Thank you. I guess we need a,
I'll go ahead and sponsor.
you'll be our sponsor, Mr. Perkins will be our sponsor, and I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2103 on first reading.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling with a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Otley with a second. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That is approved on first reading. We'll go now to Resolution 2118. Mr. Boyle, read that title for us, please.
Your Honor, this resolution of the city authorizes an application for a grant from the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security. It's to obtain funds which are designated for law enforcement, terrorism prevention-oriented activities and equipment.
Thank you. Chief Kirby.
This is the grant that we have. This is the grant that we have taken advantage of and used for quite a few years. And most recently, it has always been used for communication. The system, even though we aren't on it yet in Wyoming, so that we can all communicate well together, the radios are more expensive. Maybe Councilman Welling knows if they're ever going to get us on it. It's been a while, but we're still required to purchase the radios that will work with that system, and they aren't cheap. So that was our proposal this year. Last year we got the handheld radios, and this year we're proposing to get 4 for our cars. We try to reuse them as much as we can, but after they've been moved from car to car for a few times, they just aren't usable again, so we're putting in for 4 of those. And the total on that is $15,420. At this time, it's just an application. We haven't been awarded the grant, so.
I get you 2 radios.
Yeah.
Well,
Sadly.
they're getting a little different radio this year, so that's 4 of them, but they usually run closer to $5,000 a piece, so we got a little bit better bargain on these. But
Yeah. They don't give them away, I know that.
no,
Is there, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you have more?
no.
Is there introduction on this resolution? Mr. Lynch with the motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Mr. Welling seconding. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. 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 Are there any opposed? That's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 2119. Mr. Bowie, read that title for us, please.
Your Honor, this resolution of the city authorizes the execution of an agreement with M&K Striping. It's to stripe crosswalks, stop bars, parking lots, downtown parking, and curbs in the city of Evanston.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
This is the agreement with M&K to do the work that was for the bids that were awarded last time for the parking and crosswalks.
Seems like we do a little of this every year.
Yep.
It's probably a good thing.
Yep.
Any questions from, I guess, all of these here coming, these next 2 or 3 are all pretty much the same,
They are.
same kind of a thing. Is there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll introduce with the motion pass.
Mr. Sellers with a motion. You're seconding, Mr. Perks?
Yes.
Mr. Perks seconding. Any discussion on the motion? If there is none, all in favor say aye. 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 Are there any opposed? That's approved. Resolution 2120. Mr. Bowl, please.
Your Honor, this resolution of the city authorizes the execution of an agreement with American Pavement Marking, LLC. It's to stripe edge and center lines in the city of Evanston.
Excellent, thank you.
And this is virtually the same thing, just for the long lines that we have to paint around town. The agreement to do with that.
Excellent.
And I would note that in these, that we've added a sentence in there in the contract for the workers' comp and all of that.
I was going to ask that, so thank you.
Yes.
I just think it'll, just protects everybody.
Yep.
What's the difference between American paved markings and PEC striping?
PEC striping should not have been on there. That was a company that did it last year. It's American striping. Just needs a correction.
Thank you.
Councilman Perks, that was my error. I left that in.
I thought maybe it's a subsidiary.
No.
No, it's just,
Fortunately, Gordon and Diane caught it, so the official one has corrected that.
All right. Didn't mean to point anything out. Just curious.
Good question. Is there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce the motion to pass.
Mr. Welling with a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Otley seconding. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye. 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 Are there any opposed? That's approved as well. Resolution 2121. Mr. Bowl, please.
Your Honor, this resolution of the city authorizes the execution of an agreement with M&K Striping. It's to do street crack seal in the city of Evanston.
Excellent. Mr. Robinson.
and again, this was the bid they awarded last time, and then this is just the agreement to go with it. Should see this work starting possibly next week, as long as it's dry enough. Temperatures are about right for the cracks, but the cracks have got to be dry and they blow them out, so
Sure.
we could see this one starting soon.
Get it done with. Yeah. Introduction here. Mr. Willing? Mr. Otley going to second? Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye. 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 Are there any opposed? That's approved as well. Resolution 2122. Mr. Bull, you read that title for us, please.
Yes, I will. This resolution, Your Honor, of the City of Evanston authorizes the execution of a planned maintenance agreement and addendum with Cummins, Inc. It's to provide maintenance for electric generators used by the city.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, please.
This is our annual agreement with Cummins to come and do they have to do an annual certified load test on all of our backup generators for the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant, the PD, the Sulphur Creek Dam. So it's just our annual agreement with them to do that work.
Excellent.
Are they raising their price every year on us, or they staying pretty?
It's been pretty good. This one's just a little bit higher than last year, but last year's was lower than the year before. So they've been a little bit back and forth.
So they noticed that and put it back in line then, didn't they? Is there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with the motion to pass.
Mr. Sellers of the motion, is there a second? Mr. Lynch, seconding? Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? All right, it's approved as well. Thank you. Comments from departments. Chief Kirby, you have anything more for us tonight? All right. Mr. Robinson?
No, sir.
Ms. Lim?
Just watch your emails for budget information to come to you, because I sent some last week, and I just want you to figure out.
Okay.
Other than that,
Thank you. Appreciate what you're doing. Mr. Eaters, you have anything for us tonight? Mr. Barker? No, Your Honor. Ms. Harris, you have anything for us? No, Your Honor. Mr. Bowl?
I have nothing.
Public participation. Is there anyone? We narrowed it down. It's all yours, Kane. Do you have anything that you want to share with us tonight?
Well, play is funny. I'm not part of the expression anymore, but it's a good play. It's fun. Only about 55 minutes long, but $45 to begin.
Excellent.
It's the Carol Burnett Show.
Oh, cool.
So it's about
Excellent.
5 seasons from different TV shows. It's really fun.
Excellent.
Is it playing?
Sports Day Fresh.
When is it playing?
It's Thursday and Friday at 7 o'clock this week. And Saturday at 2.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anything else we need to do tonight? I guess if there's not, we'll adjourn.
Dean?